Yeah, Coach, thank you for this opportunity of having a chat with you. But let me start with this tour of Belgium and the friendly games that the Super Eagles are playing. How would you describe the results so far? We lost to Congo DR 2-0. From your own perspective, what did you see? What are the positives? What are the negatives?
Well, this tour started out very difficult for us because in the first place we had a player who withdrew. Victor Moses withdrew from the tour that he didn't want to, it was for precautionary motives, he didn't want to get injured before during this tour. He withdrew, and then we had to now invite in other players. And the worst part of this tour, the hectic one we had to go through, was the fact that our people coming in from Nigeria, 6 players that we had counted on, that were supposed to be also part of this, the bulk of this team, we refused visa. So we started off with just 15 players, and had to eventually go scouting and asking players who were playing here, and we even eventually had to call in a player from Portugal who we knew didn't have visa problems. And that's why we call him also F.A. Ambrose, because he's in Europe. He doesn't need a visa to come in, so to just like make up and have a solid team for us. Concerning today's game, I was very happy with the way the boys started the game, the way we played. We knew going in, the fact that we were missing Kenneth and we were missing Godfrey, that we're going to have problems in the central defense. And we started off by playing a right defender in central defense and with a trust. And unfortunately for us, those are the places where the 2 goals came from. But when you look at the total context of the game, when you look at the fact that Shehu was playing his first game for Nigeria and the way he played on the right side, that's something good for us. You look at the composure and the way the team built, and I was very impressed with John Obi Mikel. It's been a long time I've not seen him play. He carried the team, he played, he moved, he was mobile, and he was doing something that I asked him to do, I like very much. He was taking charge and telling people what to do. When you have a player like playing in Chelsea like John Obi Mikel in your team, he should lead. He shouldn't be led. So, and he did that very well today, and I'm praying he continues like this, because with this Mikel we need. And I'm also very happy with Chejile. His positioning on the pitch was very good. And, we had some good actions. We had more ball possession, but they scored the goals. So it's a good thing to take on. But on the negative part, I think defensively we were not so solid. But I already told you why. The cohesion in defense was not there because we had an experimental defense line. And I'm really hoping that Godfrey Ubavana will get a visa tomorrow so that he can join us at least for the Cameroon game.
Okay, well, let's talk about the goalkeeper, first choice goalkeeper of the team for a long time, Vincent Enyeama. I wasn't at the game today. He retired from international football just a few minutes to that game. And a lot of people are saying it was as a result of the fact that he fell out with you in camp. What happened between you and Vincent?
Well, it's puzzling really, because to say the least, I'm very hurt. I'm very disappointed at these character assassinations that Vincent has taken on my personality as regards this issue. If you want to retire, retire. You don't have to drag and insult and lie on somebody who did nothing. I will take you down how this went through. We called up everybody to camp. We invited 24 players. And most of the players, in fact, Obi Mikel came in on Sunday night. He was supposed to be here on Monday, which was very good. And most of the players came in on Monday. But I knew, because Vincent had gone for his burial ceremony of the mom, that he might come in late. He came into camp on Tuesday afternoon by 5:20 or 5:30. Just as the training was almost being over, he drove in from Lille. And he came in, and there are even pictures that we snapped when he came in of me hugging him because I was happy to see him back in camp. But when we trained that day on Tuesday afternoon, I wasn't happy with the physical involvement, input of my players. So when we had dinner, before dinner, I spoke to the players and I made it clear I wasn't happy with it. And I needed an improvement for us to play more as a team, that we deserve better. And I could see the body language of the players that they were very receptive and they were conscious of what it was. Only at the end of my speech to go to sit down for Vincent to stand up and say he wanted to say something. And I told him, I said, look, this is not the time to say anything because we just had a discussion about how to improve things. We'll discuss personal issues after. He said, no, he wanted to say something. And I refused. I said, no, I don't want you to say anything. Please sit down. Later on, you can come to me. We'll talk if you want something. He said, no. He was adamant. He wanted to say something. And I told him, I said, look, with all due respect, this is the Super Eagles. I am the coach. We're not going to have two coaches. I decide who talks when we're at the meeting. And at the moment, I'm telling you, no. If you refuse to do what I'm saying, then it's better you go out. He was still adamant and trying to raise his voice. And then I told him, I said, it's either you go out or we leave the room for you. And since he refused, I told him, it's either you go out or I'll get you to be taken out. Because you were stopping the team from even having dinner. And eventually his teammates got up and took him out and said, hey, come on, Vincent, try to, and then, no, I'm skipping one part. The part I'm skipping was that when at one point I told him, I said, it's either you stop this now or you can go back home. And when he continued, I gave him a handshake. I said, okay, now you can go home. I've released you. You just came, you've not even trained, and you're already looking for an argument or problem. So go home. Because he had not even had one training session. So I went in my room, and 5 of colleagues, John Obi Mikel, Emenike, Musa, Onase, and Echejile came to my room and said, look, coach, we've spoken to him, and he is aware. We know him. He talks sometimes before he thinks, and this. And I said, okay, he can stay. We are trying to build a team. We're not looking for. He can stay around, but that was it. And then next morning we came. Everything was settled. We ate breakfast. We went as we were about to go for training. Then I received a message from back home, where Vincent had insinuated and made public that I insulted the memory of his mother when I spoke to the team. And this was really hurtful and a blatant lie. And I found it even quite, with all due respect, insane. Because you can't make an accusation, a false accusation, when there are so many witnesses, as much as 19 players, 3 other 4 officials, and there was no reason to talk about your mom, because you just coming into camp. There was nothing to talk about you. So that was really, to now trying to make a character assassination and try to make the people sympathize the fact that he was mistreated, against his mom. He is the captain. He was the captain of this team. When we played in Tanzania, I called the team administrator, Dio, and we had arranged for the team to wear a black band and to have 1 minute of silence before we played Tanzania in honor of Vincent's dead mom. The only reason why that was not done, Dio Enebi is my witness. The only reason why that was not done was because Dio came back and said they refused us because we had to have a request to CAF made out, and the time was too short. That was the reason why. Now, how would a man that is sensitive enough to try to honor Vincent Enyeama's mom now insult his mom?
Good. Let me take you off that track a little bit, and then we'll come back to it. Some people are saying that Vincent was merely reacting to the fact that you had dropped him as captain for Ahmed Musa. But when you were appointed as coach of the Super Eagles, did you at any time, reach out to Vincent, who was captain of the team at that time, to discuss with him? Did you carry him along? Did you make him feel wanted in the team? Because that's the feeling, that you never wanted Vincent from day one. You were not ready, and you had always made up your mind that he was not going to be your captain.
Listen, before I was appointed coach of Super Eagles, Vincent Enyeama had a big rift with the NFF concerning statements he made concerning the pitch in Kaduna. I was not yet a coach, I was in Nigeria, and I stood up for Vincent because I felt that he shouldn't be castigated for representing his teammates. Like that thing. When I was appointed as chief coach of Super Eagles, the first thing I did was to pick up my car very early in the morning, drove to Lille, and spent a whole day watching Vincent train, took him to lunch, which I paid for. And I had lunch with him and to intimate him with my plans to build the team, with him as captain of the team. And when I spoke to him the tactical things we wanted to change, the policy changes we wanted to make, like you do with a captain. And when I spoke to him there, he made one statement. He was talking about retiring in a year or 2 years' time.
After 2017 Nations Cup?
Yeah, and I told him, I said, Vincent, I'm trying to build a team at least to 2018. I don't need a captain who's thinking of retiring or thinking of who's planning after football while we're preparing. And nobody does that in football. You wait till your last game or your last month and then you announce retirement. You know, let this be out of the agenda because I didn't want this. 2 weeks ago to this tournament, when Vincent called me to discuss about his funeral arrangements for the mom, and I told him, I said, Vincent, it's saddening what has happened to you, but I can't be available
for the mom's burial.
Because of the fact that, for other reasons, but I had spoken to the president, and he was going with the delegation.
That's the NFF president.
NFF president, President Amaju. So and then said he was going to be there, so we would be represented. And while we were having discussion, he was talking again about retirement. That was when I decided to pick Ahmed Musa as captain. Because I felt then, okay, he's probably not into it anymore. So to now read that as if there's a personal look, I don't know Vincent personally. So to carry a grudge against somebody I don't know, you must be.
You didn't know him until he was in the Super Eagles, probably?
No, I just know him, and I had already retired, so it was as if we had personal contact. I can say I knew the kind of boy he is. And I will take you back memory lane. This is not the first time. This was the same major problem Vincent Enyeama had with Betty Vogts. And Betty Vogts kicked him out of the team. I remember he was supposed to be #1 keeper in 2008 Nations Cup, and because of this kind of attitude, Betty Vogts made him eventually the third goalkeeper, almost sending him home. We've heard about what happened in 2008. We've heard about what happened in 2010. We've heard about what's been happening and how it keeps going. Problems with Steven Keshi. We've heard about all this kind of things. So we cannot continue over one player. And now to start with a man who's just starting and trying to build, and you're trying to now get a nation against. If you want to retire. Must you make trouble on everybody?
Okay, coach. Let's come back to the Belgian tour now. Congo DR is done and dusted.
Yeah.
Cameroon is next.
Yeah. First of all, we're going to let the boys rest. Tomorrow we'll try to freshen up the minds and take the positives from what we get from it. But I'm really, really hoping that Godfrey can get a visa tomorrow to come in because we need desperately to have a central defender playing, at least one, playing on Sunday against Cameroon. So we're just going to try to do that. But we are building, and I must confess that we are getting more and more players, and the cohesion is going on well.
Coach, I wish you the best. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.